Okay, so I've been in Orville for the last 30 years. I was a student in the Jiddu Krishnamurti school in England. So I had a very privileged education there. We were not pushed in any particular direction to become anything in particular. Rather, we were given a lot of space to explore deeper questions in life. You know, what's this life about and what should I do in this life and who am I? Etc. You know, these more existential sort of questions. And because of that, the education, you know, the subjects were very sort of eclectic. I'm a musician. I studied jazz guitar there. I also did a lot of theater. I was doing research in genetic engineering, publishing papers with my teacher, my professor. And I was also helping run the vegetable garden. So the guy who ran the vegetable garden was a German guy who'd lived in Orville in the 70s and the 80s. And actually he's now back in Orville as well. And this guy really inspired me because, you know, as a young 18-year-old, you could see this guy, something is doing, something is happening. There was an energy around him. And he would work all the time in the garden, holiday, you know, weekend. For him, he told me, you know, all life is yoga. It's not like this is my work and this is my hobby and this is my holiday. He said the whole life is yoga. And he introduced me to the ideas of Mother and Sri Aurobindo and told me about Orville and, you know, riding, you know, horses bareback and building your own houses and planting trees together. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to come and live that life. I think that at that age, I was suffocating with the materialistic lifestyle that is in England. Who has been in England here, but for me it was too much, you know. So at 19 I came here, and it was at that same time that I discovered my guru, who is a Japanese farmer, sort of a Zen master called Masanobu Fukuoka. So he wrote a very famous book called The One Straw Revolution, and everything I showed to you today is inspired by that book. So yeah, so everything I've done is inspired by that book. Now, I had the very good fortune to meet Fukuoka about 20 years ago in Vandana Shiva's farm in Dehradun. And he was a short little guy with a white beard, indigo kimono, the wooden chapels, you know, he looked the part. And he didn't talk much. He was already 92 years old. But one thing he did say to us was only a fool will understand his relationship with nature. The clever man, you know, full of his, you know, very anthropocentric sort of ideas about this life, you know, like someone like Elon Musk put a car on a rocket ship, he sent it up to the outer space, you know. We're very proud of things like that, human beings, you know, AI technology, nano this, all of this stuff, you know. And yet you have to ask yourself, well, if man is so great, why is there no water left in Chennai? You know, why is it there's no water left in most Indian metropolises, but also in England and in Germany and in America and Australia? Why is there a complete collapse of our environment, you know, on all sorts of levels, from the extreme weather conditions, the flooding, the forest fires? Why is it that there is epidemics of nutritional problems like diabetes, hypertension, you know, goes on to cancer, the loss of biodiversity, which then relates into things like COVID and, you know, all these flus, swine flus and God knows what. How is it that we've, you know, lost this sort of essence of well-being? You know, what's happened? And I feel that what's happened is that we've lost a very fundamental relationship, and that's with Mother Nature. And a reflection of that relationship and that loss is that we don't know where our food comes from. So we are completely dependent on industrialized, 95% dependent on industrialized agriculture. All you have to do is look at the food you ate for breakfast or look at the food you had for dinner and ask yourself, where did that come from? You know, the wheat for the pizza or for the chapati or for the bread, where did it come from? No idea, no idea. You know, let alone who grew it or how it was grown. You know, but we just don't know where it is grown. And the same for the rice. You know, if you go to the bazaar in Pondi, the market, and you ask the kadigara, or the shopkeeper, where is that ulundu growing? Ulundu is the dal that's used in the dosa. And now Tamilians, we have dosa every day or idli every day. Where is that ulundu from? He'll tell you it comes from Burma. And then popcorn, all these schools, they all give popcorn for kids, no snack and everything. Where's the popcorn from? Argentina, you know? And then where's that tur dal from, the tovrai, the pigeon pea? Oh, it's from Africa. We don't know where our food comes from. You go back 30 years ago and you go to any small restaurant, you know, for those of us over 30, we'll know that. You know, you spend 20, 30 rupees for a meal, or 15 rupees or whatever it was. And that meal, wherever you had, was relatively good. That's because the food was still local, you know. And now it comes from so far away with such a carbon footprint. It's not only that the quality of that food has been, you know, vastly diminished, but they also has come at a cost to the environment. This is industrialized agriculture. So the antithesis of industrialized agriculture, the solution to this, you know, very serious problem that will affect all of our kids, you know, as well as us, of course, is local food, is food that grows in a locality where we live. And if we look at, say, Tamil Nadu, because we're in Tamil Nadu, if we were doing this in Peru, we would look at Peruvian, you know, foods. And if we were in, you know, Japan, it would be Japanese food. But we're in Tamil Nadu, so we look at Tamil foods. You see that there is a whole treasure trove of nutritional, cultural heritage. And because there is a treasure trove, there is an amazing culture with a language which is 40,000 years old, the Bharatanatyam, the Carnatic music, the Sangam period poetry, the esoteric texts, the things like the Nadi Jadigam, the thumbprint astrology, the temples, you know. This culture is like a banyan tree. And you say, how did that culture grow? Wow, amazing. How did, you know, how did that sort of anthropological evolution happen of that culture? It happened because people knew where their food comes from. In Sanskrit, they say first is Annamaya Kosh. Anna is food. There's different sheaths of our being, they say. So first is food. Without food, there's no mind. So if there's no mind, there's no language. So there's nothing to be proud of to say, oh, I'm Tamil or I'm Indian. That's just not going to be there. So we lost this relationship with the earth and with the food that she gives us. Then we lost this relationship, the most foundational aspect of our existence. So everything becomes very conceptual after that. It loses its integral sort of reality. So we have to start exploring local foods. Now, a very good example of local foods in Tamil Nadu, I mean, there are many, many, many examples, but one that touches base with most people is the muringakai or muringakere. So the muringakere in Hindi is called sahajan, no, I think. Anyone Hindi speakers? Sahajan, you know, sahajan?
We never had drumsticks when
Where are you from?
I'm from Delhi.
It's there, my dear. Delhi is like London. It's one of the worst places. Gurgaon is the worst of the worst. You know, that land has been raped and pillared and destroyed, you know. So along with that is that is losses there. But if you go places like UP, you know, or even in Gujarat, you know, it's also lost a bit, you know, here and there, but it's still there in people's memory. But the drumstick spinach, right? As in Tamil Nadu, what you do is you break off a stick and you plug it in the ground and it germinates. So you're like, really? Is that all? Because of that, it grows everywhere. UNESCO have said it's the best food in the whole world. It's got all the essential amino acids, fatty acids, omega-3, omega-6, folic acid, and micronutrients. It's a powerhouse of, you know, it's a superfood. And yet, you know, an interesting story. Recently, I was doing climate change conference. I do them from time to time, and I went to one in a university, and I said to these cats in the conference, I said, do you like drumstick spinach? They're like, yeah, we like it. It's our culture, you know. I say, well, great, you know. Does it grow on the campus? They said 10,000 students on the campus. The campus is huge. It grows everywhere. I said, fantastic. Do you serve it in the canteen? Say, no. So you've paid and brought professors from England in an aeroplane with a huge carbon footprint to India to talk about climate change, and you're not serving a drumstick spinach. You know, isn't that the most obvious thing to do when we understand that industrialized agriculture is one of the main contributing factors to climate change? You would start, if you want to be practical about it, if climate change is not just another business, which obviously it's becoming as well, but if you wanted to be practical, you'd start to explore, well, what foods grow around me? And how can I start to reclaim that knowledge? Now, in Tamil Nadu, that knowledge is there. All those people knew about it and they liked it. But somehow there's this gap. That's what we're trying to bridge here in Solitude. We're trying to demonstrate that through a non-interventional farming, a farming that values food not for its economic value, but for its nutritional value, allows it all to grow together with the principles of permaculture, natural farming, that if we can feed people that food every day and get people that food directly, then we will create community and create what we call a cultural redemption, a reclamation of cultural identity through honoring local food. So if you like, I'll take you through the farm and show you this thing in practice.